Welcome to the Encore Audio Archives YouTube channel. I'm Taper Dave, and this is my channel. I've uploaded hundreds of talks here that I've recorded at meetings in West LA, and I've also recorded conventions starting in 2013. I've got a bunch of those up. And Walt and Mary Murray, the original owners of Encore Audio Archives, started the company in the 80s, and Walt recorded Joe and Charlie's and a bunch of stuff down in Vista, California. My sobriety date is June 20th of 1994. I hope you find something you like, so please like and subscribe to my channel and comment down below. If you want to hear something that I don't have or that you don't see, I'll see that I get it. Anyways, take care and have a great day if you want to.
Okay, it says you're on. So I'm Katie and I'm an alcoholic. And I would like to thank my sponsor and our new secretary, Patty, for asking me to lead tonight. I've led here once before, so I thought I was safe, but that doesn't appear to be the case. But there is something really special about the fact that Patty has entrusted me to lead Rodeo tonight, and I'll touch on that in just a moment. I just wanted to look at how much time I had. So if everything goes according to plan, I'll be taking a cake here next Friday for 3 years. And I was actually too intimidated the last 2 years to take a cake here, but things have changed a lot and I've transformed a lot. And I've been consistently in the program of Alcoholics Anonymous for 8 years. So relapse is a big part of my story. And I always start off by saying, I can assure you that relapse does not need to be a part of your story. It's not a part of recovery, it's a part of the disease. But if it is a part of your story, I can relate. I am really familiar with the pain that comes with relapsing. And you know, I've been ingesting alcohol from as far back as I can remember. My grandpa used to take me to the bar with him when I was 3 and set me on the bar stool next to him and pour me a shot glass of beer, and I'd have my pack of candy cigarettes, and I was set. And growing up, you know, there was a lot of heavy drinking in my family, but I never saw any negative consequences of drinking. There was no self-identified alcoholics. And I thought that it was really glamorous and grown up, and I aspired to have a drink in one hand and a cigarette in the other. That's what I wanted to do, and so it was. And, you know, growing up, there was no lack of love in my family. But like the big book talks about, I was always driven by 100 forms of fear. And I was always looking for a fix outside of myself to fill that internal void that I always felt. And I found my temporary fix by about the age of 13, which is when I started drinking to get drunk. And I was a blackout drinker right from the gate. I experienced incomprehensible demoralization from the very beginning. It was pretty much fun with problems for me from the very beginning. My drinking and drug use progressed through high school, and as it did so, I began to experience a progression of bottoms. And I also began to develop the personality of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde that the big book talks about, and my thinking would really vacillate between extremes, and the egomaniac with the inferiority complex. And my first bottom was a week up on meth. It was a meth-induced psychosis with auditory and visual hallucinations, and I thought there were invisible people that were smoking this special meth, but I could see their outlines, and this took place in a public place, and it was very, very bad. So I white-knuckled it off the meth, and like I said, I experienced a progression of bottoms. You know, the horror, remorse, and hopelessness of the next morning were unforgettable. And the big book talks about the hideous 4 horsemen: terror, bewilderment, frustration, and despair. And those were common emotions that I felt when I came to in the morning. And that's what I did. I came to. I didn't wake up, and I passed out. I didn't fall asleep. And I started overdosing and coming to in ambulances and ERs and ICUs, and my kidneys shut down at one point. And in college, I had an auto accident that left my face unrecognizable to my mother in the emergency room. Somehow I made it through college with a lot of cocaine and a lot of binge drinking, and I maintained functionality for a really long time, which allowed me to prolong the delusion and the denial that I don't have this disease. And after college, I moved in with my primary caretaker, enabler, codependent, rescuer, fiance. And he would clean up my alcoholic messes that I created in my fits of alcoholic rage. He would clean the vomit off of me, carry me off the bathroom floor into the bedroom, change me into pajamas, carry me from the bed into the shower in the morning. And I took full advantage of this man, and I had no respect for him. And one night I cheated on him in a blackout, and he left me. And he took the ring. And I first made my way to the rooms of AA 8 years ago, a little over 8 years ago, to get him back for all the wrong reasons. And I got him back temporarily, but I began experiencing detox symptoms, and I knew nothing of detox facilities at that point in time. So I thought, I'm going to self-medicate with a little non-habit forming marijuana. And this began my 2-year marijuana maintenance program. And I thought I had found a solution. It was the first time I had put down alcohol and all other mind-altering substances. However, I was completely living the life of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, lying to everyone in the program who I loved and cared for and respected. I was taking dirty chips. This went on for so long that I was taking dirty cakes. You know, we're as sick as our secrets, and this is a secret that I thought I was going to take to the grave with me. And the catchphrases in AA that I loved were act as if and fake it till you make it. And I would claim the third tradition, you know, the only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking, and I've got that. You know, but it inevitably came the day where I drank again, because over any period of time we get worse, never better. Sometimes there are periods of brief sobriety followed always by a still worse relapse. And surprisingly enough, I drank with my sponsor, and that night we went from drinking to pot to coke to me trying heroin for the first time and cheating on my husband with the man who introduced me to heroin, which led me out on a good 6-month run and landed me in a Brahman detox. Followed by share at the treatment at the share unit in Pasadena, where I was promptly and rightfully served with divorce papers. And then I met another external fix, distraction, and his name was Jeremy. And Jeremy was a counselor at the treatment center. So beware of the rehab romance. The fact that Jeremy was taking a special interest in me and the condition that I was in should have raised a major red flag. But it just made me think that I must still have it going on. So Jeremy moved in with me after I completed treatment, and he relapsed a few weeks later. And after about a week of trying to save him, I decided to join him. And one day I came home, and he was gone, and so were all my valuables. He had robbed me, and he left the state. And we come to find out that he was a wanted felon in 4 states and affiliated with the Aryan Brotherhood. So apparently my treatment center didn't do background checks. However, Jeremy left me with a pretty severe habit and with hepatitis C. So that led me out on another 6-month run where I had to lose it all: friends, family, sanity, morals, ability to function, went in the fetal position, ceased functioning. That led me on a year tour of psych wards, detox centers, sober livings, and finally I was beaten into a state of submission where I was willing to do whatever it took. And I got a sponsor, and I started thoroughly working the steps. And I did a thorough 4th, and I told the secrets that I thought I was going to take to the grave with me. And I made my amends. But the one thing I failed to do was to develop a relationship with a power greater than myself. And unfortunately, I found it necessary to drink 2 last times. The first time I was found seizuring. I went into a blackout. I don't know what I did, but I was found seizuring, and I came to strapped down and brought me ER yet again. And the last time I drank was uneventful. I had 2 double Stolian 7s, and I started scrolling through my phone to see who might be out on a relapse, who I might be able to score from. And then I looked myself in the mirror and I said, I don't want to live this way anymore. And I went to the 2+2 meeting a few days later where I met Patty, my current sponsor, and she instantly began giving me direction. And she told me that she wanted me at a meeting every day because I drank and I used every day. And she wanted me to get there early and to sit up front and to thank the speaker and to get commitments. I could relate to her right away because she told me that when she was new, low self-esteem was a goal because she'd had no self-esteem. And I had such a lack of self-esteem at that point in time that when Patty was leading the meeting at 2+2 that night and she asked me to get up and read a portion of chapter 5, my eyes welled up with tears and I started shaking and I couldn't do it. I couldn't stand up in front of a room of you and read. And now Patty has entrusted me to get up and lead in front of Rodeo, which is a direct testament to me applying the principles of the steps of Alcoholics Anonymous to my life, the transformation that has taken place in my life, and the psychic change that I've experienced, the spiritual experience. It's nothing short of a miracle. And Patty, most importantly, taught me how to apply the principles of the steps to my life as opposed to just going through the reading and the writing. And my sponsor family is really solution-oriented and really big on working steps 1, 2, and 3 in our lives on a daily basis. Every day I acknowledge that I'm powerless over drugs, alcohol, people, places, and things. And when I try to control any of these things over which I'm powerless, I engage in obsessive thoughts and insane behaviors. And I have developed a relationship with a higher power, and I have a conscious contact with God today that is completely amazing. And I ask God to relieve me of my obsessive thoughts and to restore me to sanity. And I use the 3rd step prayer to bring me so much relief. And I also try to read pages 86 through 88 as often as possible on awakening and when we retire at night, which helps me work 10, 11, and 12. I continue to take inventory. I make amends when I need to. I pray and meditate every day. But most importantly to me is the 12th step, our service step. When all other measures fail, work with another alcoholic saves the day. I have found no greater assurance against relapse than working with another alcoholic. I've had some real tribulations in sobriety. I went through interferon treatment, 1 year of interferon treatment for the hepatitis C, and I came through it free of the hep C with a 0 viral load and the hep C non-detectable in my system. So that's a miracle and a gift of sobriety. But it was a grueling 1 year process, and the women in my sponsor in this program really carried me through it. And in the midst of treatment, I got my heart broken. And relapse was always my default reaction to pain in the past, but I picked up the spiritual tools. I didn't miss a meeting. I threw myself into service. Today, I sponsor 5 amazing, solid women, and they are truly the highlight of my life and the foundation stone of my recovery. Something that my treatment counselor said that really means so much to me is that we're not bad people trying to become good people. We're sick people trying to become well. And that means so much to me because I had so much shame coming into these rooms. And whenever I speak, I always wrap it up with what my sponsor Patty says, and that's bring the body and the mind will follow, because that has truly been my experience here in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous. So I'm Katie, and I'm an alcoholic, and thanks for letting me share tonight.
Okay, this is how I prepare my drone for launching. I like to do it inside the cab of my truck so I'm not standing outside in the weather. To install the joysticks for control, up and down, right and left, powered on. I have an Android phone that I use to connect it to the drone with. And it's actually controlled through the iPhone, through an app. Oops, wrong way. It's actually controlled through the iPhone, or through this Android phone, through the app. It's actually controlled through the Android phone, through an app, and you connect it through this short connection right here.
Remote control connected.
Remote control's connected. So I pull out the drone. I have to extend the legs. Long legs extended first, then the short legs. Remove the gimbal protector. Set that aside, then power it on one short burst, then one long burst. I lay it down. So I have to go to calibrate. So the drone's not connected yet. It shows you here as this drone gets disconnected, even though the remote's powered on. So the drone has to establish it's connected. So I go into the app to calibration mode. First I'll calibrate the remote controller. Start calibration. Out, in, out, in, up, down, and then this little wheel is to control the gimbal. So it's calibrated. Go to gimbal calibration, start calibration, and then it calibrates the gimbal. I don't know if that shows up. The gimbal's moving all over the place. Changes, you can see it on the video. And I'm calibrated to take off. It's acquired 7 satellites at the moment. There are 26 satellites up in the sky, which it has to acquire before you can take off. So it's connected. It's got enough satellites. This is white. I can go to press this little arrow button, swipe right to take off, and it would start the motors if I slid this to the right. But I'll wait till I get outside. Don't want to do it inside.